Episode 94.
94.
Let's go ahead and dive right in.
94.
This is,
Charles Haley.
all right.
That was a good one.
Sport references?
Yeah.
All right.
That's a throwback.
For those sports fans. Espy House, straight bourbon whiskey. I had a sip of the rye recently.
You did?
I did. And it was pretty good. So I figured, let's do
special occasion?
Nope. I was across the way at the spirit shop, and they had a bottle of rye open, and they were handing out tastings. So I figured, why not go ahead, grab a bottle of the bourbon, see if that's good or not.
I was going to stop there on my way. That's why I texted you. Like,
yeah.
What's the new guy's name? Sam?
I believe it is. I think so.
I haven't met him yet. Man. His name is just burned into my brain.
But he has caught a couple episodes of the show, so
nice.
Hopefully we're right.
Shout out to Sam.
Hopefully we're right about the name. Let's not double down on it too much, just in case it's not. 123 East Pitt Street, Bedford, Pennsylvania. Now it's distilled in Indiana, but bottled by Bardstown Bourbon Company. So I'm not 100% sure.
We're familiar with them, I feel like.
Not 100% sure where Pennsylvania kind of comes into the fold. Maybe the company is just based out of PA or something like that. Let's see. National Historic Landmark. It was a hotspot of activity in Pennsylvania during the American Revolution in 1794. President George Washington used the house as his base of operations to help calm a local uprising during the Whiskey Rebellion. All right. So, very good. The Espy House. It seems like it's got some historical significance. Go ahead and pop the top. Pretty significant top on this one.
There we go. Good pop.
Sounds good.
It's an okay pop. It's a weighted top, that's for sure. It's
I love a good. Oh yeah,
it's not a cork top.
Love a weighted top. Hey.
But it's a weighted top. All right, so we'll pass that around. I like the bottle. It's a nice shape, nice weight. And we'll take a look at...
I said it looked expensive.
Number of deaths from hornets, wasps, and bee stings. We were having a slight conversation about this before we kicked things off. How many people die from bees every year? Looks like these stats go to 2021.
Yeah, 2021 to back to 2011. So an average of 72 a year, most of them being male, as you can see from those dark blue lines.
Ah, interesting. Well, yeah, sure. Okay. That makes sense.
It makes sense that we would get killed by.
Well, I'm sure it's a lot of like outdoor yard-related activities, not to be dismissive of women and their yard activities, but, you know, I can see where you're mowing the yard, doing some weed whacking, something like that.
Won't kill you.
And, you know, gets out of hand.
This is how men die of
fast.
Bee stings, wasp, and
Exactly.
How many bugs die in a whiskey glass before the pour?
That's right. All right.
What did I say a few episodes ago when we bought the beer pong? Drink it.
Yep.
It'll add 10 years to your life.
It remains to be seen.
Yeah.
So, kick things off, a little interesting bit of news here. You guys might have heard this. Well, let's start with this. Have any of you shopped on Temu?
I have.
Before?
Big negative.
Or Sheen?
Big negative.
Temu.
I tried out both
Sheen?
when I found out about them.
Okay.
Didn't go back.
Didn't go back to Sheen or Temu.
Or both. No,
Okay. All right. Very good.
Just wanted to see what
Pause just for a quick second.
Yeah, carry on.
Having a little bit of problem with my mic stand. Can somebody unscrew this for me?
Isaiah's got it.
He's having a hard time.
Because
over here.
it's really locked in there, but it's really low.
In your navel.
And I'm part of the problem, definitely.
How'd you get it so low? Slight technical
Thank
issue.
you.
All
Thank you
right,
so much.
we're moving.
There you go.
In
Let's
a
go
better,
high and see if we
in
can
a
see if it
better
There
direction.
you go.
sinks. Lock that.
All right, locked in.
Nope. Oh, nope. I'm going down.
Go pull this.
That's, oh my gosh. Look at that. That's it.
How'd
The
we do?
locking hands right there.
Great,
This
fantastic.
guy.
All
Thank
face
you so
set.
much. Sorry, guys.
Back
Keep
in
going.
business. All right. So for those that are unfamiliar, Temu and Shein are Chinese-based companies, operations, if you will, loosely, and they ship out very, very inexpensive products. Some might say cheaply made. Some would say otherwise.
I'd say they are the TikTok version of.
Yeah, TikTok apparently has its own marketplace now. This is actually a component of the story that we're going to dive into. But Amazon is getting ready to launch their own competitor for this particular like super low cost space. it's very similar. I mean, it's going to be an Amazon storefront of some kind, but it's going to connect you
Storefront.
directly
Okay.
with Chinese vendors. And my guess is there's not tons of details on it, but my guess
I
is
mean,
that
it's cool for like my wife bought a few things from it, and I was like, I'll check it out, just see whatever what's on there. There's like fun stuff on there, but nothing of like.
You've not bought anything exciting.
No, I
cool.
got some phone cases, like key, just like small, like dumb little tech accessories, USB adapters, like nothing exciting, because the stuff I see on there looks very cheaply made.
Yeah, that's the idea. It is.
I
mean, it largely is cheaply made.
Like, oddly enough, I can speak to Shein. I can't really speak for Temu. But with Shein, you really gotta know the science. Like, you really gotta. Like, there's quality stuff there because they have independent vendors who like use it as a site, and there's some good stuff on there. But like, you really gotta look. I'm too lazy to navigate quality. I need to know that the money first of all, it takes like 7 days to get this crap. Like, it shouldn't take that long.
It's coming from China.
Directly, yeah, right.
It's coming from China. So it's going to take you, I mean, and it's part of the trade-off, right? You're spending $2 on a t-shirt, you're going to wait a little bit longer.
That's crazy.
50 cents
Is it, though?
for a 6-pack of t-shirts. You
You
can wait 7 days.
It feels a little bit like the lottery. Some things will probably work out and some things won't.
Yeah,
You never know.
Yeah,
I
can see what
Could be worth it. But anyway, Amazon's diving into the space.
Do they have a name for it?
Not that I've heard. Not that I've seen.
Chinese
kind of excites me.
Tiny cough. All right.
I understand that there's an opportunity, that they see an opportunity to make money, and I can't necessarily fault them for that. But Amazon already has problems in the quality and service department. People ordering one thing, receiving a different thing in the box.
Yeah.
Not receiving it at all, and then was it delivered? Was it stolen? That whole thing.
Yeah,
It didn't even make it to my house.
Sure, right.
It's at my neighbor's house.
Did it get left out on the driveway, right out front, right outside the house?
That was actually FedEx.
Yeah, right.
For what it's worth,
and you didn't see it because it was nighttime and you ran over it. Stuff like that.
I just feel like it's like, I get it that they're seeing an opportunity. I just feel like it's going to dilute the brand unless they completely disassociate
it's gotta be something,
the name.
Yeah, brought to you by Amazon.
No. Yeah, I mean, maybe like a brought to you by Amazon kind of thing. It's definitely a space that they're probably feeling very pressured to get into. Like I said, TikTok has a marketplace now that also is competing in the same market, more or less.
Yeah, this
Same
article
price
here, this article from Engadget says that time frames generally range 9 to 11 days for shipping.
That's crazy.
But the fulfillment fees are cheaper because warehousing is cheaper, and in the end, it costs the seller between $1.77 and $2.05 to ship a half-pound item from China, versus in the U.S., that same item would cost between $2.67 and $4.16.
I think
so. Even going over the ocean, you're still paying 50% less in shipping fees.
I think what will happen is versus Temu and Shein coming through post office or FedEx or UPS, this stuff will go straight through Amazon fulfillment centers, even though it'll kind of be underwritten by Amazon and then still use their channels to get the stuff out there.
It's gonna have the backing of their shipping infrastructure and most likely the backing of their customer support. That's probably the big thing. For what it's worth, Amazon customer support generally is pretty solid.
Yeah.
You can return things at Whole Foods, etc. Like
you can return
pickup lockers.
anywhere.
Right,
you
there's
can
all kinds
return
of
it
stuff,
in pieces. And
you broke it into.
They're pretty good about that stuff. I think that's
just be
one of
like,
the big
take it back.
hang-ups with Shein and Temu right now is there's really no good return.
Once you get it, it's yours, bro.
There's no good like return.
You gonna send it back to China?
You might. Good luck with the shipping.
No, it's just going to get thrown in a trash can.
That's true too.
Right.
Yeah.
We're moving into that.
They might just say, you know what? Don't worry about it.
Into that reality.
We'll just send you your money back.
Just throwing everything away.
There's a huge area in the Atacama. Here you go. This is a kind of a shocking picture, but these fast fashion companies are disposing of products that have been over manufactured and undersold. And so you have thousands of acres of the desert in Chile that's just strewn with just polyester and plastic. And then when you walk up, it breaks down because it's in the sun. The UV is breaking down. So you touch it and you've got millions of little pieces of plastic everywhere.
Yeah.
just 2024 world champion Denver Nugget T-shirts.
Right. Yep.
Because they never won. Just craziness over there. Oh man.
Yeah. Anyway, here we are.
99 Bulls world champion T-shirts.
Or really any major sport, like the World Series. They're going to make a ton
of that crap.
Both teams and hope and know that one of them's going to win.
Wins.
That's right. That's right.
If neither wins, we've got a big problem.
Much bigger problem, right? It's not the microplastics.
That's right. Another big piece of tech news for those that
love
care.
tech news.
Tech news.
Hit the button.
Your boy Elon's had a pretty big
week for him.
Couple of weeks here.
Big week.
Caught a pretty big rocket ship right there out
For,
there. You know what I mean?
before
Seen the
we
video of that
start-
bad boy coming down?
Before we start shitting on Elon.
Pretty exciting.
Right? I will say,
Is that what we're doing?
shout out to the people who are actually good people and engineers that work at SpaceX, because that was a magnificent feat to be able to do that.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna shit on him. I was flowers where flowers are due is where I was coming from.
Now, we can shit on him though. He's bonkers, but go ahead.
I mean,
is he?
I don't know. I mean, it takes a bonkers guy to catch a rocket like that, more or less. But yeah, so to your point, way to go, SpaceX. Seems pretty cool. It was to watch that video was
watching the future.
Pretty awesome. Yeah. Like that was a pretty cool thing. And I think you can try to set aside some of the, political differences for the time being. It's a pretty remarkable feat, regardless of which side you find yourself.
Watching it was like, when we're watching these sci-fi movies and like, when we're watching like Star Wars and then like the planes land and the propulsion jets kind of like, just like ease down to the ground. Like seeing that was like, oh wow, we're almost there, right?
Feels like we're knocking on that door. And then the other piece to that whole thing was obviously a couple new Tesla vehicle announcements, plus the little robot guy. But yeah, the cab and the big old van straight out of the future. And Joshy boy, I don't know. Could be a cab for you in the future.
Could be. Listen, if I don't have to drive, it's going to be much better off, as we've seen.
Maybe, yeah. They can reach take the wheel right away from you. You don't need any pedals,
there won't
baby.
be a wheel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You just get in and it just knows where to go. I mean, that's the future, man.
Could be. Pretty cool looking vehicle. I actually was kind of a fan of the aesthetics of the Cyber Cab. I thought that
looks just like the
cool. Is that called the Cyber Cab? I'm sorry. I don't even think it's called that.
Cybercab.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
It looks like a Cybertruck mixed with like a Model 3.
Yeah, Cybercab is correct.
All right,
but all of the designs are from iRobot. They look exactly like iRobot. I have heard
this. I disagree with this statement.
If you look at them side by side, they look exactly like the stuff from iRobot.
What are we talking? Are we talking about the little humanoid robot thing?
No, I'm talking about the car.
The cars?
The cab specifically.
I'd have to see the cab side by side. Maybe Josh, maybe you can pull that up.
And I'm not sure if they call it a cab in the movie.
All of the photos that I saw of them giving the Tesla team kind of flack about their design choices showed the robots. And I don't think the robot from iRobot looks anything at all like Optimus.
That doesn't look anything like it.
They look other than the fact that they have like loosely human figures, like they look completely different. In my opinion.
Now the meme content was,
but maybe there's a cab that I'm not thinking of.
The producers of Blade Runner 2049 have sued the company for copyright infringement.
That's for a photo.
Yes,
that they had in the slideshow. I guess like the press release when they were doing like the whole thing, they had a little keynote presentation that went along with it at the event. There was a photo which I also felt like it has similarities, but it wasn't a ripoff of, in my opinion. Like,
we see the photo, Josh?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I've got really crappy versions right here.
Yeah.
On my computer.
I get it. Like,
because I need a new iPad, guys.
It's certainly inspired by.
All right, that's the Tesla.
Yeah.
Which Tesla is that?
That's the cab.
The cab.
That's the cab.
That's the cab.
And the problem with the iRobot car is
and that's the iRobot car.
It was an Audi. Oh, okay.
Yeah, those don't look anything alike.
They kind of look alike.
No, they don't. Those look like cars. That's the argument that you're making.
They look...
No.
They kind of... I don't know, man.
By that logic, I mean half the cars on the market are robbing and stealing from one another.
Yeah, I guess so.
How can you sue somebody for that?
I mean, that looks like an Audi R8.
Yeah.
Which
That
is
doesn't.
basically
This flat design with
That looks like a
no
Kia.
wheel spokes,
Yeah.
like they all look the
I
same.
mean, in all fairness,
Looks
it
like a
looks like a
Kia,
new Kia or something.
that
with
looks the Hyundai Ioniq
just big
6.
hubcaps.
Yeah.
That's
exactly
what that
it
looks like. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, all right. So
This is not an
this will
iRobot.
have no driver. This is going to be completely autonomous. And this specific.
yes.
Well, there better
Model.
not be a
In
driver because
theory,
there's
in theory.
clearly no room for a driver and any more than one other person in that
Yeah.
thing.
I mean,
These-
I'm saying like
you get two
when the
people in
car
this.
pulls up, can I like get in the driver's seat and
Yes.
just take me
Yes.
where?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
All right. I didn't know if that was like.
Yeah, it's like a bench seat up front.
Yeah, which is already a thing. I just maybe last week I saw a video of somebody getting into one of these autonomous vehicles and sitting in the back. There is
And they're
still
watching.
and they're right. The screen in the middle lets them choose another destination or pull over or whatever it is, and then show them the camera view
Yeah.
if they want and all that stuff.
Interesting. Would you guys call one?
Sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
I think the autonomous thing has come a pretty long way so far within like the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how
safe.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not convinced of like the safety factor. Like I don't think that it's at like 99% safe at this stage in the game. I think
Do you
there's still some
think
problems with it.
It's completely autonomous, or is there like
A guy
call
somewhere.
center, like with like
So I was
remotely piloting
kind of
it.
curious
You know
about
what I'm
this
saying?
too. Now I know the robot, the Optimuses or whatever, they had like some human component, like somebody behind the scenes kind of working the sticks a little bit to try to make that all happen. And I was kind of thinking the same thing about these robo-taxis. Like I guess there really is no reason why you couldn't have somebody just like remotely
fail-safe.
controlling them.
or just watching it.
For-
right?
I mean,
like
Yeah, like who's to say you couldn't multitask like a couple of different cabs? Like if it's on the highway, you can kind of not pay as close attention to it. Like you can let that one go. But when you're navigating like a parking lot, like you can, you know what I'm saying? Like I could
I
see
feel
a
like
world
that's
where
the
that's a thing.
easiest part for an autonomous vehicle, though, is slow speed, parking lots, like turns, city streets, that kind of thing.
Maybe.
I think the problem is that it's people who are unpredictable, not the
Yeah,
Right.
the car.
What is
yeah,
the
yeah,
fail
right.
safe?
That's what you're protecting. Is not so much the people here as everybody else out there.
Let's get let's get some data on it. How many accidents are on highways versus let's say neighborhood streets?
Like when I'm coming down
Or-
83, is it gonna roll down the window to tip the Squeegee
like
Boys?
where
Like,
do
I
we
need
get
to-
where do we get more accidents?
It's gotta you gotta keep going. Bro.
I feel like there's more accidents in like in a rural
yeah, like
situation.
You're going across Liberty Road, and
as composed. I mean, as
Is it gonna
compared
stop
to
for,
a highway? But I could be wrong. I
a
don't know.
homeless
Maybe there's
guy
not information on
that
that.
just decides to just bolt across the street.
Yeah, there's less of that. I'm thinking happening on 695. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I really wonder like what is the like how do they keep it from these small kind of like circumstances that are like unpredictable.
Listen, we're going to take a deviation from this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that Joshy Boy is finding the information that we
Oh no, I am.
looking
It's
for.
just a lot
Taking
easier to
time.
see it when it's full screen.
understood.
Got you. Go.
Down in the city, Squeegee Boys.
Yeah.
Is that what you're calling them?
That's what
Squeegee
they're called.
Boys.
Squeegee Boys.
All right.
You tip them?
Thoughts on the Squeegee Boy situation?
I don't like it.
I don't.
No,
Like
it's very layered, right? And we had that situation that happened, like 2 summers ago, where
Yeah.
the guy got out on the Squeegee
Altercation.
Boy, that altercation. I won't speak on that. God bless the dead and whatever. But right, I do think that the culture of it has gone a little too far, right? Because now there becomes an entitlement to, well, okay, you don't want your windows clean. Well, you got some money for me anyway? Or, right? Like, it becomes more, I don't want anyone walking up on my car at all. Like, right? Like, but, I understand what it is. And part of me does not like it. But unfortunately, unfortunately, in some cities, those parts of the culture you just can't escape. And now, and I don't like this, but it's become kind of like paying a toll, right? Like you're going downtown and it's like, here we go with this. And here, to keep $2-3 and just put it out the window just to, I kind of do it to keep everyone else, the other drivers, to kind of keep them off edge, right? Like, get the coat out and they walk away, right? Like,
You're doing like a service.
I'm doing like a service, right? Because I don't want this to
escalate
for anyone else. And I know who I am and I know what I look like. And I can't identify with I've never been a squeegee boy. I've never hung out and whatever. But they could be outside doing way worse things, right? And they just trying to clean windows. And I'm not saying they're just trying to clean windows, but for lack of a better word, that's just what they're trying to do. And they're trying to make a couple extra bucks. My problem is when it becomes aggressive.
Yeah, no, right? Understood.
Like, no, I don't have any cash this time.
Well, right? That's the problem.
I don't want you touching my car.
I feel like, generally speaking, most people don't have cash. And so, how do you?
They got Cash App now.
Yeah,
they're like putting
their little keychain with a QR code, and then the other side has Venmo.
They'll even just show the QR. Yeah, they'll show the QR code. It's crazy.
Yep.
So are you Venmoing cash? Mm-hmm. Are you getting...
I've actually,
you drive into the city quite a bit.
I've actually only been hit by one squeegee person in the last year and a half. And it was 2 days ago.
But what did you do?
Well, gave them cash.
It's like a shakedown.
You gave them cash.
And as they're coming up, they're coming up, I'm going, no, guys.
And they just...
the one dude inevitably goes, no, it's a Tesla, man. Come on, you want to look nice.
But the rest of my car just ran through mud, bruh. Like, this is not gonna...
My windshield is cracked. My front end is pushed in. And you're going to clean my window. And then the window looked much worse than it did before because
they don't have
there's no way to clean it, right?
There's no good solution in there.
It looks like it's like muddy water.
It's piss.
Yeah. It's a flawed system.
Right.
I'm just gonna
say very flawed.
It's a flawed system.
And I
Cash App or not,
it's unfortunate on both ends. Like you don't win because you get a pissy window and you're out of cash, and they don't win. I guess they do win, right? If you give them,
they win no matter what.
They win no matter what.
I think I said this before, maybe on this show. Somebody can check me, but when this whole thing like kicked off during COVID, like 2020 or 2019, it was a little before COVID that it started. The whole thing was, what do these kids do? Like, couldn't they just go get a job? And sure, maybe they could, maybe they couldn't. However, they make way more money, even if no one gives them money, than if they were getting a job. A, they don't pay tax on it. B, if you get one person to give you $1 in a light cycle's 30 seconds. If you get one person, that's $2 that you just made in an hour. Now that doesn't sound like much, but you're going to get two people. You might get $2 here and there, or I'm sorry, not $2 an hour. That's $60. I did the math wrong.
I got what you're doing. I follow you.
If you do 2 light cycles a minute, you just made $60 an hour. If just one person gave you just $1,
it sucks because in one hand I'm like, yeah, they're just kids, and then but then something tragic happens, and it's like, kid, like what were you thinking? Like that's not kid behavior. So it's just be safe if you're just doing that. Like, if you're not gonna just lock your doors, don't roll down the window.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your husbands.
Don't give them no money.
Sure, and that's the way it probably should be.
And what's your approach? Are you say no, you ignore them, you let them just spray the window down and you just keep driving? What's your go-to?
They don't even touch my car.
How do you do that though? You wave a gun out the window before they get there? Like what's your approach?
I guess I have that look on my face like, don't bother me.
And you've never had them just hit the windshield either way? Because I'll always get like they'll always spray it. And then like they see me saying no, I'm good, but then they'll
that's the trick. They spray it, and then if you don't,
and then they'll walk away.
They'll just walk away,
and
it's like,
damn it, come on.
Why would you do that?
I've been so bold as to they've sprayed and I've used my wiper to wipe it off.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a problem with the kids per se. It's the adults who are now.
It's the adults who are doing it.
Yes.
Right. That really, because that pisses
they have
me
a
off.
problem here.
We got to check IDs now.
Yeah, you're a grown man.
You're a grown man and you're
You got
squeeging.
a Blackie Mile hanging out of your mouth.
You're competing with the children.
Are we still talking about the adults?
He's taking kid jobs.
Yeah. Taking kid jobs.
Not only kid, he's taking black kid jobs.
Yeah.
It's a black kid job.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking it.
Mm-hmm. And
I seen a white Squeegee Boy.
I have as well.
I've seen one, and I was like a unicorn. I was like, I wanted to take it.
Where do you see Squeegee Boys? So I used to see them on President Street all the time, going south.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one on President Street in
That's where the guy got unalived.
Yeah, they
disenlived.
Oh yeah, they got rid of them.
I got hit.
So the cops are like,
hit
no.
over on Green Street near the stadium.
They're
Heading
back
south
over
to
to,
get
like,
onto 295 or whatever.
I got hit by one on 40.
Bottom of 83.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I never see them there anymore.
Every time I get to the bottom of 83,
no fail.
there's like 2 or 3 lights where you're just bobbing and weaving.
Interesting.
Baltimore Street, Lafayette, and
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird because that's where I used to always see them, and I haven't seen them there in a long time.
They get ran off now because of that.
I was just
incident.
there and
Yeah, no, I believe you.
I got hit up.
Yeah,
I believe you.
I got hit up. I was sweating
boys
in my
do
seat, dude.
Now, Isaiah, I'll raise you here. You having that look on your face versus my goofy ass having that look. I don't think I send the same message.
I don't know. Let me see your face.
And now I can't because now I'm laughing.
Although
I saved up my seriousness just to drop that joke.
I do think the more we trash the Tesla, the less likely they are to hit you up.
Maybe.
Especially now that the
work.
brights don't turn on. They're not going to be able to see the windshield, dude.
All right, so
They're not going to know what to do.
last week, Josh unfortunately had a little fender bender and was not here.
Bendy.
Oh,
So
there was the fly.
Josh has
Blew a family
very
off
nice
the side of the
Tesla,
road.
which has unfortunately the last couple of years gone through
It's had 3 incidences in the last, and this one is the first time it's my fault.
Significant body
Or,
style changes to it because of
This could be it, dude. This could be the end of it.
it's now gonna walk with a limp from
The
now
insurance
on.
company is going to be like, no, it's
God.
total.
I've had enough.
Total, dude. It's over.
You know what we call this in my community? Ghetto.
How's that? How's the battery doing in that bad boy? You've had it for 5 years, 6 years now.
Oh yeah, you should be coming up.
It is 6 years old. I got it.
Okay.
I got it 5. Yeah, it'll be 6. I will have had it 6 years in April, but it was manufactured in September of 2018. So yeah, it's a little more than 6 years
What's
old.
the trade-in value?
And how are we doing on the battery?
Mathing it out, it's about 92%.
That's still great.
What's the battery is 92%.
Yeah, 92%.
Great.
That's
Full
great.
charge capacity.
Okay. I was just curious. I don't know. You hear these horror stories.
Yeah.
Is it a little dicey in the
I think we
cold
talked
these
about this on the
days, or
early
just
shows,
a
yeah.
little- Remember there was like that big wave of like cold temperatures and like everybody in the news was talking about how all the Teslas
Right,
were
you're
dying.
gonna die. Right? Yeah. Yeah,
was that
I don't think it
about?
really happens too
that fake
frequently
news?
like that. I do think it was fake news. Certainly, if it's cold enough, negative, whatever, people experience
take a hit,
problems.
yeah.
But it's also kind of knowing the environment and knowing whether the car is right for you.
This is probably more of content creators convoluting the news rather
Right.
than it actually being
Yeah.
factual.
And my car is an older version, so I don't have a heat pump. So I use a lot more electricity in the winter to heat the car, the cabin. But I think 2021 and newer, they use heat pumps. So they're 300% efficient.
Interesting.
Minimum on their heating.
Have you seen, there's a new pickup truck. I think it's a Ram product, maybe. It might be a Silverado or something. I can't remember the exact one, but you could probably find it. Where it's an electric vehicle, but it has a gasoline engine. And the gasoline engine is the backup.
Yeah, the prime move. Oh, I see. Okay.
Primary is
I see.
electric.
I'm not familiar with that.
But
So
it's one of
kinda
these
a hybrid,
things.
but not really.
It's like a hybrid in the reverse. Like it's primarily an electric vehicle. That's the idea, is that's what you're using it for. But if you get into a situation where your battery dies or
now you can use the gasoline.
The gasoline engine is like your backup. That kicks on, and I think it actually regenerates the battery. It doesn't actually go to the drivetrain. I think the engine actually functions as a generator.
Because the engine has to have its own battery, right?
It's the Ram 1500 Ram Charger.
There we go.
The 2025 Ram 1500 Ram Charger runs on electricity but can burn gas for a maximum range of 690 miles.
Damn.
Yep.
That's
fuel up.
That's 3 states almost, bro.
It's not bad. Anyway,
That's pretty good.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
I have seen where, and I know that this is the case in Canada. I don't know about the US, where
Canada.
you can, if the prime mover is electric, you can call it electric. So there's local, not local, like, come to Baltimore, but there's Canadian companies that are starting to make trucks for the logging industries and kind of that industrial thing where it's got a gasoline or diesel engine that generates electricity, and then the motors are attached to each wheel.
Yeah.
And that still qualifies an electric vehicle under certain law because you're still moving the vehicle with electric power.
Interesting.
And so that's another kind of way to do it.
Fun fact.
Yep.
Fun fact. Severance season 2 trailer.
Ready? I didn't watch the trailer.
You did not watch the
Didn't
trailer.
watch the trailer. I did see it. I didn't.
You saw that it was
I
out,
saw
but you
it,
didn't
but I
watch it.
didn't watch it. I am going to watch season 2. Very much a Severance fan.
It's been a little long for my liking.
Wasn't
Severance like a pandemic show?
It was. I was in my old house.
It's been a while ago.
Was it a pandemic show? Because we were talking about it while it was on.
April 2022.
We had just came back.
It must have been early.
That was still panty.
It was, yeah. We was a little.
I don't know how I feel about you calling it panty. It's starting February 18th, 2022.
The panty.
Yeah, we were just.
We were just coming out of that.
We were coming out of the.
We were just no mask era.
Yeah.
It was the first. No, that was like the second no mask phase. The first no mask phase didn't last. Was very bad for everybody.
I'm trying to kill this fly. I'm sorry. I know. It's one of those really little ones that
it's
you,
like he's like a
can't kill.
fruit fly who's grown all the way up.
Yeah,
and he's gonna die in like 2 hours. And he's just getting it all out. You
All
won't
right.
see him tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Well, I watched the trailer. Looks good. Looks fine. I got to rewatch
Isn't this
season
the
1.
second
It's
trailer
very
that just
clear.
came out?
So there was a teaser
Okay.
that came
I
out
did
a
see
little
the
while
teaser,
ago, which
yeah.
didn't have really any video or footage in it. It was
Right.
more of just like it's happening. It's coming.
Okay.
This is about 2 minutes long and does contain a lot of footage from the season and kind of sets us up a little bit for, I think, what is to come. But I definitely got to go back and rewatch it.
It's almost like we don't have an Apple TV.
Did we just put it on right now?
Very rusty on
it'll-
Severance season 1.
It's great. It's great radio when we're watching a TV
Yeah,
show.
when we're
Right,
watching
yeah.
the TV show.
So it also, in the honor of it
But hey,
coming
here we
back,
are.
right? Like, how much would they have to pay you salary yearly to do a job where you go in and you have no clue? You clock in and you clock out and you're back in the parking lot. How much?
Well,
You have no clue what you're doing.
that's
in
a
there.
really tricky question because there's a lot. If people have seen the show, then know why it's a tricky question. But
Yeah.
essentially, you're always in your free time. On one hand, and then you're always working. On the other hand,
okay, I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I think the caveat of the show is they know what the company does, right?
they don't know what the
okay.
company does.
All right,
They
yeah.
don't. They know what Lumen
Creates.
tells the public that they do.
Right, but you
they
don't
don't know what their job is.
Yeah, they
Right.
don't know what they do, and they don't know what they do on either phase of their lives.
Right.
I think that's tough because I think you do go your whole life trying to figure out like what fulfills you as far as work. And then you're like, I got to make that match the money. Like, this is what I'm good at. This is what I know how to do. This is what I've trained myself and and upskilled for. This is the money I kind of want to make. And then a company like Lumen comes around and they're like, all right, we're going to pay you $180 a year. You come on in and you don't got to worry about that. It's just, I just threw out 180 as a
Sure.
random number, but that's usually that's around what I would consider more than reasonable wage for a middle class person.
Enough for you to not ask questions.
To not ask questions. Like, this is what we're going to pay you. You don't ask questions. You come to work every day, clock out, and your check is there every 2 weeks or whatever.
You're just in there shooting puppies all day long.
You're just stomping on baby legs. Like, you have no clue what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't know. You tell me, man.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think personally a little more than 180 because I need to have some type of super soulless financially, because if I find out what I'm doing in there and it's something super awful, I don't know if I'd be able to like.
That's the tricky bit, because you do run that risk of what if at some point you snap out of that and you now have all these recollections of all of these atrocious things.
Yeah,
that you have
my
done.
chip
Let's
just
say they are
malfunctions
atrocious, for
one
example.
day and I'm at my desk and I'm like, where am I? And I'm like, I'm.
So we've been hunting black people.
Right.
I don't know,
You know what I'm
man.
saying?
I don't know.
I've been sending drones to the hood.
I don't know if there is.
You can't get them.
I'm
bro.
never gonna let this go.
You got a spray? I don't.
Sorry. Back to the show.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I don't. I want to say there's not a price, but there probably is
There
a number you
definitely
could
is.
throw in front of me. If I'm being honest, it'd likely have to be well above 180.
Yeah. I just threw that out there, but like, yeah, I'd need like
180. Like 180 is very good money, and I'm not saying it's not very good money. You can live a great life on 180 for sure, but it's not like.
life
I
changing.
don't-
It's
it's
not
not-
life changing.
it's not-
No.
It's not
I don't-
carefree money.
Yeah, it's,
No,
not, it's
no.
not. I don't care about life anymore.
All right,
You know what I mean?
what's your carefree price? Salary
I don't know.
for you?
It-
For
it
any
would
job.
have to be. I think it would have to be in the millions.
Yeah, I'm going to agree.
I would have to be in the
Millions?
millions a year.
for me to go in and not know what I'm doing.
Because on the outside, I would just have to be floating, dude.
Yeah, I need to not.
literally.
My job is to make sure I can make it there.
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock every day. That's my job because I have no clue what I'm doing in there.
Yeah.
So outside of that, I need to be able to take care of myself mentally, physically, financially, to make sure that my body is intact, my mind is intact, my house, my living situation, everything's intact enough. So when I go in there, I'm functioning, whatever I'm doing in there.
Yeah, because then you got to come home and worry about question, why am I even tired?
Right, that part. Like, why are my eyes hurt? Like, what's going on? What am I doing in there? Right.
I feel like it's even less of that for me. It's just like in the worst case scenario where I wake up and I realize I've done atrocious things, I want to at least have been like, man, I at least had like the best 5 years of my life.
Yeah. When the company just decides to go bankrupt and then the chip just...
Like I did all of the coolest things I could have ever wanted to do, like own whatever, live wherever, cars, boats, whatever I wanted to do. Like I just lived life to the fullest without consequence until there was consequence. But to just live like kind of, for a lack of a better word, like to just kind of be like in the middle class, just like chilling, like having a decent life, and then just kind of one day waking up and being like, man, I slaughtered people or something.
Or just filling the baby oil bottles.
Yeah. I just
Diddy,
right?
Yeah.
Well, we do that for free around here. So
Hey.
nothing wrong with a freak off, dude. As long as everyone's of age,
And consenting adults.
I don't see the problem.
There's nothing wrong with a freak off
You
as
tell
long as you're
me.
a consenting adult
You tell me what's
and you're of
illegal.
age.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I've heard nobody take the other stance of like, Diddy's not, what did he do wrong? He's fine. I don't see the problem.
nobody said that.
Who said it?
Haven't seen it yet.
I've not seen it yet, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Have not.
Yeah, no.
Because clearly a lot of the stuff was unconsensual. That's what's
Allegedly.
allegedly.
I'm just kidding.
That's what's coming out in the
It sounds
lawsuits.
awful.
Yeah.
It sounds awful. I'm going to wait. Apparently, according to Emily, she says that it's on May 5th. It's on her birthday is when the case starts, I guess, when he goes to court. I don't know. She's very
We
excited.
got a ways
about it.
away. There's a lot
That's
of
a
fun
lot.
rumors we could
That's a
create.
lot of
That's
time.
right.
That's a lot of time.
Speaking
between them.
of, she was
May the 5th?
Yeah,
Be with you.
almost like May the 4th.
Revenge. That's Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah,
also
right.
with you.
I messed it up.
May the 5th be with you.
And also with you.
That's
Josh
that's the last pun, right?
Josh was not here last week, so he doesn't really know the full story of
she's
episode,
obsessed, bro.
episode 93. Well, obviously she's obsessed with the Diddy thing, but she left last week's episode. She woke up the next morning and was like, "You guys can't release that episode." She was like, "You guys can't put that out." We spanned a lot of topics.
We didn't say anything bad.
Well, so that's what I mean, I thought it was.
Did you watch it, or did you?
I thought it was. What, have I watched it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've not sat through the whole thing. No, not yet.
We didn't say anything.
That's how I felt.
Oh, I didn't. We did make the North Star joke about the paper and the Underground Railroad, but like,
no, I don't know. I think she got a little like bent, she got slightly bent out of shape. I think over the blackface stuff. She got a little nervous.
Listen, as long as I mean, Courtney, as you've always said, as long as it's tasteful.
As long as it's tasteful.
I said it is coming from
really,
coming from a genuine place, which was my.
It's not even blackface though.
That's not bigger thing.
That's not blackface.
Well, so her thing was like
that is some black on your face.
That's just black on your face. That's not blackface.
She was like, you shouldn't be
perpetuating
you
rumors
shouldn't
of
be putting
you.
those questions on your black friends. Like, you should be doing the research and finding the answers for yourself.
She's offended on somebody else's behalf.
Oh, she's never spent time in a genius
social
firm,
justice
huh?
warrior. I see where we're going.
So then I started feeling like, man, like I started really getting self-conscious about myself. I was like, maybe I don't know what, like maybe I'm an idiot.
Okay, so
I was like,
here's what I'll say.
Thank God you have a white girl to be offended for you. I don't know what you would do if you didn't.
We won. The race war is over.
Just know what type of household I've been living in for a week, guys.
We finally found the end of the road.
We've made it. We made it. This is what
I thought it was a fun episode. I thought we were having a good time.
It was one of my favorite times we've had.
There we go. See, that's what I thought.
It was fun. Like it.
But I will say this: I'd rather you ask us than the internet.
Genuinely.
I thought it was a good topic.
There's few research.
I care about you as a person, and I would hate for you to go outside thinking that, this is cool, and then having the intent, like, I am not intentionally trying to do anything racist, right? And it happens to look that way, and then you be, Courtney, what's up with your boy? Like, right?
I was trying to be respectful.
Right? No. And we showed me the picture of it's from Jurassic Park. It's not even like when people say something is blackface, you are perpetuating the character of a black person. A la Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Right, and he's
which is the only blackface I think we're okay with.
Probably the only one that's ever been acceptable.
She was less upset about the blackface piece of it. She was upset about the fact that we were having these conversations.
These are the conversations we have.
She was like, you should be doing the research, not putting that on your friends.
That's the research.
Yeah.
Well, she thinks that I should not be making it.
I used the casserole example.
I shouldn't be wasting your
time,
mental energy on it.
Oh,
this is not a waste of mental energy.
I also just gave her access to Chat GPT, so we'll see what happens.
God damn it.
She's going to come back fully juiced.
She's going to be full on 45.
I logged her into Chat GPT the other day, and I heard her from upstairs. She goes, "This is amazing."
Yo, because I showed my wife Chat GPT about 7 months ago. She had to do something for work, and she just was like, I don't have to do this anymore. I can just
don't tell people.
Don't
ruin it for the rest of us.
Yeah. Right? Like, yeah, it's awesome. But
pretty sweet.
Again, I always say this, right? Don't abuse it. You gotta know your job. You gotta know your job in case somebody asks questions.
You gotta know your limits.
Don't cheat your way through a career thinking Chat GPT is gonna save you, because now they got Chat GPT spell checkers and shit.
That's right.
They gotta
the chat watchdogs.
They got overseer for Chat GPT now. So can't.
It ain't the railroad no more.
That's not. You can't take the Underground Railroad of technology anymore.
I'm gonna stay quiet on it, guys.
Oh no! Don't tell Emily that ChatGPT is the Underground Railroad of the web. She's gonna lose it. Dude, yo, she is gonna lose it when she hears this.
Well, if you see her,
because that's what it is. It's cheating.
If you see her, you let her know. Because if I say it,
Yo,
Listen, it's gonna be a week around here. That's all I know.
making your way to the north through the dark web.
God. All right. We're getting close to an hour. We'll
Already?
We'll run through a little bit more movie news, and then we'll get out of here on some
We've
drama.
been shooting the shit. People are like, "Did you talk about blah blah?" I'm like, "Man, I won't
Talk about what?
I don't know.
We're talking about
Stuff that we watch.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
watch anything.
This is to entertain you, not about entertainment.
See, the problem is you watch things in the background, so I feel like I can't really have conversations with you about all that much.
I watch stuff.
I know you watch stuff, but like you watch it with like other things going on. You're not like a dedicated watcher.
Of
You're
what,
like,
though?
I got things going on. Well, we'll circle back to this.
All right.
We'll see what happens when we talk about watch lists.
I have
If we get there,
specific
we'll talk
watches.
about it. Joker sequel, Joker 2.
Hey.
It's streaming October 29th, baby. It's getting fast tracked out of the theaters because of how awful it's been doing. So if anybody's
that thing must
interested,
be terrible.
yeah, give it a watch on Plex. It's coming soon.
There we
Let's
go.
see. What else? Tom Holland. I don't know if you heard this, but he got picked up for the new Christopher Nolan film. That boy's growing up.
You gonna get a beard?
I don't know what's going to happen.
Maybe
We're
a
going to
little
find out.
mustache or something.
There's really no information on the new film other than the fact that they're saying that it is maybe a 1920s horror film. A horror movie set in the 1920s. I saw an article. Somebody was claiming that it could be related to
I don't want to see
vampires.
him running around with a clock in his pocket.
I don't know, but if you do think back, The Prestige was pretty good.
Okay,
And that
yeah.
was kind of a period piece. Nolan doesn't really do too many of those.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. He's not done a horror movie. I don't think it's going to be a true horror film. I think it's going to be.
I can do that. Nolan
it'll be
Nolan
safe.
horror. He
It's
hasn't
gonna be
really.
safe.
Who's
He's
going to
not
be
done
his assistant director? That's who we need to find out.
Oh, and who else? Oh, Matt Damon. Matt Damon is in it. Matt Damon. Matt Damon is in it, and rumor has it, Tom Holland. He also had another little bit of news coming out about Spider-Man 4. Apparently,
He got the script and he said,
he was very excited for it, but it's also not ready at the same time.
Yeah.
Is what he was saying. I don't know. So we'll see what happens there. Dune Messiah.
the show.
No, so the movie. Now there is a show that is
coming next
coming
month.
out. That's is it some
Next
prophecy or something?
Yeah.
Dune something.
Next week.
It's an HBO.
Messiah is 3.
Messiah is the third movie.
Oh,
correct.
gotcha.
So the
I was
TV
talking to
show,
the show, sorry.
that's coming out. I think to his point,
And that is a
next week
prequel
or-
about the.
That is the Bene Gesserit, like how they were created.
Dune Prophecy is the show.
Prophecy, there it is. It is tied to the films in the sense that like it's all a part of the same, like, you know,
How many
universe or
generations
whatever.
before this is?
It's much earlier. Much
hate that.
earlier. But Denis Villeneuve, who's the, I guess, filmmaker, right? Behind 1 and 2, is coming back for the third. There was, initially, he said that there was going to be a gap. There was going to be some time in between the third movie and the second one, that he was going to either take some time away or work on a different project. But apparently he has come out and said that is no longer the case. My sense is that Warner Brothers was like, you're either making the third one or we're not making the third
He went to
one.
the ATM.
Well, I think again,
Funds were frozen. Bro.
I've spoken about this before. There's this fatigue thing that I do think is happening with audiences where you get these big gaps between stuff and people lose
Don't
their
care
interest.
anymore.
Fall
Yeah.
off.
It's like a Lord of the Rings trilogy thing. You've got to stack the trilogy and
Just-
do it in a way that people can remain interested. If you're going to go away and make other movies and do other things, nobody's going to care about it in 6 years. Also, Timothy Chalamet and everybody else that's involved, they're all going to be, you know,
Super
older
big
and doing
stars
different
and, yeah.
things. And so
You gotta take the Disney Marvel approach. They knocked out 3 Spider-Man movies in
you gotta-
5
dude,
years.
You got to
bro.
get after it. If,
3 of them.
If you're riding that wave of success, you've got to keep going. You
Every
cannot
18
take
months,
time
there was a
off.
new one in theaters. Like, how did they do this, right?
I-
On top of the movies in between that you, whatever star you are, or in your movie, you're fit into these, you know,
Keep the boys coming to work every day.
bro, put the money on the table.
Put them under contract.
They're scared. They're
Work for
scared to
this
pay
shit.
people.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it is. Scared to pay people. Like the good old days of 2015.
Well, I don't know. I think the Returns movies obviously are not what they used to be. So I think actors and actresses probably have to take pay cuts, as does everybody else that's involved in the process, most likely. They have to find a way to make things cheaper. And I think that's
Yeah.
okay. It's a good discipline. I think everybody got very carried away, financially speaking, in the like film TV space.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood just got a little. People just got
Got
a little
crazy.
Yeah, they got a little high on themselves.
We cutting checks.
People were like, "I'm worth $100 million." Probably.
What's that mean now?
Probably not, though.
What's that mean?
Probably not.
You're not worth that.
Not in the streaming
Listen,
world.
you don't even know what 100 million's like until you're out there squeegeeing.
That's right.
UPS is hiring, bro.
Yeah. Or until you're stomping on the legs of babies. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah, there it is.
You're working for Lumen.
That's right, working for Lumen. All right, let's see.
Baby
what else do I
legs.
have here? This was kind of an odd one. I don't know if you saw this. This popped up several times for me on Instagram. Maybe you saw this. Cynthia Erivo?
That sounds familiar.
Does anybody know this name? From the in the upcoming film Wicked, right? Which was a musical.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
There's a little
yeah.
bit of drama that kind of circulated. There was a poster, I guess, that was released for Wicked. Maybe Josh, you can pull this up for us so Courtney can get a little look-ski at this. But the poster that was released was well, it
Always
shared,
my go-to.
It was kind of it shared similarities with the original, I guess, poster of the Wicked musical. It was kind of an homage to it, and somebody went ahead. I don't know if it was AI or a person or who.
Got a little sensitive.
Well, they went and they reimagined it, I guess, so that perfect. This is exactly what we're talking about right here. So on the left, right? That's
Yeah.
the new poster. And on the right, that is the poster for the musical. This is kind of the original Wicked poster. I think it's pretty iconic. We all recognize it to some extent. So somebody went ahead and actually made the poster on the left. They like re-edited this, adjusted it so that it looked like that poster over there on the right.
Okay.
And we lost her eyes in the process.
Okay.
And I think the other piece that they kind of changed too is they made her lips red. But she did not like this. She went pretty hard. This is it right here on the right. So she went on a little bit of a
Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face and hide my eyes.
Yeah.
It's too right. Oh.
yeah. So there's like a she went on not like a tirade, but she did a post and wrote some stuff. But it for whatever reason it caught the interest of a lot of people. Seemingly, I've seen it a bunch of times on my Instagram. I've seen it on Reddit. I've seen it on the news. I don't know. It's been an interesting.
All right.
An interesting take. Why don't you fill in?
Okay. All right. This
With your
is
thoughts here.
layered.
Well, I do need to ask Emily first, though, whether it's all right if we ask you for your input.
Oh, was this a black question?
It is.
Well, she's black.
Well, she's
Okay.
green.
I was gonna. That was a joke. That was a
Yes,
joke.
of course. Carry on.
Okay. This is layered, right? I think in perspective of who she is, what she probably feels like she represents as a black woman in film, and her face is very prominent
Sure.
in the poster.
Yes.
To cover her face is very, to her, seems like whoever you're trying to hide me, okay?
Yep.
Or you're
Yep.
you're presenting that I'm not easy on the eyes or what have you, which is, that's her opinion. And
Okay.
she could everyone's valid in their emotions.
Okay.
My take on that is that this isn't real. Like, this is something a fan made. It's not going into production. Like, to make a post is a bit sensitive to me.
She's trying to
right?
kind of shut it down.
Like, this isn't gonna go. Like, the studio isn't gonna replace your poster with this now. So
Of course.
to go through this, my take on it is just that's a bit okay, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit sensitive. It's a bit sensitive, right? Personally,
and people have kind of really come after her pretty heavily.
Right.
I think people have they've been like, hey, you need to like kind of chill the hell out and like stop being so sensitive. Like she caught a lot of flack. I think she came on hot and then she got a lot of like
she got a lot of heat
in
back.
return.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, she came in real hot, right? And personally, right, I think it actually looks kind of cool. I think it looks cool because it pays homage to the original.
Now,
right?
You're saying the original poster or this fan made poster?
The original the
Broadway version.
the Broadway one.
Yes.
And this one.
And this one actually look very like, I think that I would actually go with this one. Like, I think it's really cool. I don't, and you know,
So the fan made one.
I like better
You
personally.
like better personally,
Right? I as a creative, right? I kind of think it talks to the Broadway one a little more. It gives it kind of the thread, the red lips, right? And I
gotcha.
As a black person, right? I think that in perspective, in her perspective, right? We're very. I don't want to use the word sensitive. I say we're very aware of our features, and I think for her to cover her features is where she is where her anger comes from.
Sure.
But your feet, your lips, your nose, like it's all still there. Like it still looks good. It still looks great. Actually,
they didn't change her face.
Right.
I think they
didn't
just
change her
covered
face.
some of it. It's not like it's a different person. I mean, it's clearly.
I don't know, man. Right. I actually like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it. It talks to the Broadway poster.
It is kind of an interesting. Like, it is interesting that they tried to kind of, I guess, recreate the poster, but they didn't. Because I kind of, I don't know, like the original poster, the Broadway one, there's something kind of mysterious about that particular character.
Like, who is it?
And from a design perspective, the hat and like everything is like it's very unique. So I feel like they kind of stepped away from it a little bit, obviously.
And they retain a lot of the lines in the hat, the sweeping.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I'm just saying I'm surprised that they didn't actually go closer to the Broadway poster.
Yeah, bring it all the way down. Like they really left like the only thing they covered was her eyes. Like that doesn't.
I mean, no fault. I mean, I'm not like faulting her. I'm
sure
she does a great job.
You are in the movie.
Sure she does a great job.
People are gonna see it. Like it's you. Like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's not if they like put a bag over.
I don't know, Isaiah. Am I tripping?
Let's talk about it.
No.
Okay.
I also, the more I look at this, the more I prefer the fan rendering of the poster.
I just think, and has nothing to do with her face. It just speaks to it. When you see the original, and then you see like kind of like the rendition of the render of what they did here, it just kind of talks to it a little more. That's just my personal take. I don't think there was any ill intention to it.
And it's tough because like the original poster, the Broadway one, it's a very iconic poster.
I get it, man. Like directors and promo people kind of have their own.
I think the quote is also really powerful here.
This is the wildest, most offensive. That's crazy. I've seen it equal to that awful AI of us fighting, equal to people posing the question, is your... Okay. All right. None of this is... Okay, so she's been receiving backlash for portraying this character. So she's perpetuating that someone did this to cover up who she is. Got it. She's very much valid in that if that's what she's been receiving.
Which is, I mean, it's likely. I'm not going to put that past
I don't know
anybody.
I don't know. I haven't seen this stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I just think the illustration is cool. I'm not posturing any type of narrative towards her. I just think that the render looks cool.
I think the new one looks cool, but if this is coming on the heels of her
receiving backlash, then that is...
Because we know how people can be when people make characters a different race than what they traditionally are, because remember what happened to
Little Mermaid.
Haley with Little Mermaid. People get real bent out of shape when fantasy people aren't the race that they were fantasized
What was the one they said all the black people are taking the ginger's jobs?
Mm-hmm. So I can certainly see how...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if she has to live in that truth, by all means, you got to, right? You got to speak up for yourself. Do I think the render looks cool?
Yes, that's what sucks about it. The render does look cool. So if the render looked garbage, then the
if it was trash,
stronger,
right? And they just kind of
unfortunately
erased her out of it. That's one thing. But from what she's saying, she's dealing with a lot of hate, and that sucks.
That's unfortunate.
That
does suck.
That sentence was wild. I could not read that.
Little fun fact on some Disney content.
I do want to watch that. Though.
I don't know if I've confirmed this, but I saw something earlier on this. It was an article that was saying how Emma Watson from Harry Potter was asked to do La La Land. If you remember La La Land, Ryan Gosling in it, right? She opted to do Beauty and the Beast instead because of scheduling conflicts. They originally asked Ryan Gosling to be the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, and he's declined so that he could be in
La
La Land.
That's crazy.
Fun little.
That's a nice, and I took that personally.
This is all in the article.
Oh
There's
my
goodness. Plenty more.
So Josh,
Imagine being the fan that made that, waking up to that response.
Oh man.
Anyway,
Cynthia Evil seeing the 10-year-old meme, and it's the Michael Jordan, and I took that personally. I mean, I guess you could though.
The fan that made that edit,
right? Like you were just like, oh, I'm just gonna have fun and make a rendition of it, and then you wake up to getting shit on.
Man, this is the internet at its finest.
Yo,
yep,
and at its worst.
Man.
All right. Espy House. I don't know the pronunciation.
Espy?
I'm just going with it.
Espy.
Thoughts on this bad boy? 102 proof, 51% alcohol by volume. Get in there.
I think that 102 proof is
hot out the gate.
It's a bit chewy.
It's hot out the gate.
Of a bite. Yeah.
It's got nice flavors. I think it would be great. A little cocktail maybe would be nice, or some ice. Some ice would go a long way.
I wonder what it's like under some smoke.
It's honestly,
Great
it's just got a bit of bite. It's got a bit of bite on the front end. I think it's just because of the proof. But I like the flavors. I think they're good. There are some nice notes in there once you've had a glass or two and you kind of get past it. It's not the smoothest thing out there. But again, I think it's because of the proof. But I don't know. It was $55. I think a pretty good value.
That's not a bad price for that.
Pretty good value, all things considered. Nice bottle. Nice top.
The bottle makes me think it's on the higher end, 79 to 89.
Yeah. This is I feel like a modestly priced bottle. Pretty good taste, pretty good value.
Right.
Not mad at it. I would do it again. I think, truthfully, the $50 to $60 price range for whiskey bottles is
inflation.
No, I think that's the ideal
where you want to
place
live
to be.
Yeah.
I think once you get into 80, 90 and stuff like that, I honestly think it's brand, exclusivity. It's a lot of BS. Especially when you get over the $100 mark. I'm not saying it's not good. There are certainly
you really got to lean into
bourbons, etc. out there at that price point. But
you really got to lean into a certain brand as well, though, too.
Yeah.
Right? When you start getting that high, it's like shopping for expensive things shoes or clothes or cars. You start getting once you crack the $100 range on a bottle, you just can't just buy anything. You need to really think about your choices.
But sometimes it can be associated to exclusivity, and exclusivity is not tied to quality or flavor.
Not anymore, no. It's just if they got a celebrity attached.
There's a lot of things in the $50, $60 price range that I think are actually pretty solid. I don't know that you need anything that's above and beyond.
I'm very much still on my Glenlivet train, and the Glenlivet 12 is probably my favorite, but you can get the Glenlivet 8 for $43 and it's delicious. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. All right, that takes us to an hour. So we'll wrap up.
See y'all next week.
We'll get out of here.